I got a lot of territory to cover today, so I'm going to go ahead and get started very quickly. I want to first of all show you this Audible book by a Russian fellow. He said he's from the former Soviet Union. I don't know who he is. Okay, folks? But because of the events that are going on today, I'm going to go ahead and read what he has to say and then read what Deagle.com has to say. Deagle 2005 forecast the first nuclear war. For the past 6 years, since 2014, a mysterious clandestine website called Deagle, www.deagle.com, has been predicting or foreshadowing based upon hidden plans that America would have a population of 99 plus million people left in the year 2025. I went and checked it myself, and sure enough they do. I checked both their 2019 forecast and it shows normal, and I checked their 2025 and it shows exactly what they're saying here. And that means that almost 230 million people would be completely wiped out from the American continent. Although Deagle is viewed by the mainstream media and its cohorts as a website for kooks, conspiracy theorists, it has been still a very credible website for many years now. A cursory browsing of the website will display to the average viewer a CIA-like fact book with a list of all national government military equipment and whom their suppliers and their purchasers are. The technical information and forecast for all countries in the world is not an easy task to compile, list, and update day after day, month after month, year after year. A clandestine website such as Deagle can be comparable to a private CIA firm like Stratfor, which also forecasts and predicts future events based upon current trends. Now, I'm going to stop here for just a second. You can be certain that if it is a government forecast, the forecast would absolutely be wrong. I'm not saying this one is right. I'm going to talk about this forecast, and then I'm going to go over some statements that are being made by Russian TV people out in the open. Before September 2020, Deagle has been forecasting that the United States would experience a total economic collapse from a confluence of crises that would shatter the whole nation and lead to mass migration and or mass deaths from the economy that was supported by a fake monetary system and promises that a nation could not fulfill. Now in September 2020, after the COVID coronavirus scam and debacle created by the current post-World War II 1944 Bretton Woods financial economic system, I don't even know what the Bretton Woods financial economic system, I don't even know what that is, folks, so forgive me for that. I might look into it later. Deagle has fully updated its forecast, and the forecast is nuclear war. Is this a raving of a mad lunatic? We're going to try to see if we can answer this question today, and the reason is because of what people are saying in Russia and what has happened just over the last few days. Or an organization of mass genocidal devil-worshipping lunatics, or is this an accurate forecasting by a clandestine and possibly a private intelligence organization working for the United States shadow government, or for another foreign government that knows what the globalists are planning and trying to warn the rest of the world, rest of humanity to prepare? Okay, so as you can see, this guy is from the Liberty or Death show. All right. So I can get rid of this, and let's go for Deagle.com. Let's see what he is talking about. And when you go to Deagle.com, they'll have a 2019 forecast right here, and the 2019 forecast shows the United States. Well, I can't put won't let me put my thing over it. I wonder why that is. Okay. All right. So now, so their forecast for 2019, well, 2019 is gone, was 332,000 or 332 million. Were they accurate? Well, fairly close. You can Google it for yourself. In fact, I might do it on my other computer. What was the population of the United States? U.S. in 2019. Let's just see. Well, it was actually 328 million. So they weren't far off. Deagle was not far off. So obviously, after 2019 was gone, they updated their the forecast in September 2020 for 2025. So this is for 2025. Let me show you what they're saying. They're having Russia minus 3%, Brazil not minus or plus, Indonesia not minus or plus, Japan minus 18%, Mexico minus 3%, United States minus 70%. Why would they have a forecast like that? Well, if you scroll into the rest of NATO countries, they have Italy minus 31%. They have, well, Turkey minus 13%. Saudi Arabia minus 26%. Netherlands only down by minus 5%. France down by 42%. Canada down by 30%. Germany down by 65%. Spain down by 46%. Do you see a pattern here, folks? Look at Belgium. Well, down by 26%. Where's France? I'm looking for France. See what they say about Ukraine. They got that down by 24%. Isn't that interesting? Ukraine's trying to join NATO right now. You got Sweden down by 28%. United Kingdom down by 78%. Why are they doing this, folks? All right. Let's get rid of this. And let's go to YouTube. Now, I'm going to play part of this video, and I made sure that it was closed caption for English. And I want you to read what what Russia news media is saying right now out in the open.
Геополитического, геостратегического цуцванга. И сдавать нельзя. А если сдашь, что следующее что? Следующий Крым. Правильно? Правильно. И от этого вот все оценки ситуации никуда не деться.
С какой скоростью вот это боестолкновение на земле Украины с войсками НАТО приведет к ядерному конфликту?
Я думаю, что опять-таки это сугубо мои оценочные суждения, но все-таки любой конфликт может быть прекращен угрозой с нашей стороны о применении хотя бы тактического ядерного оружия. Любой конфликт...
What? You see that? They're talking about the use of tactical nuclear weapons.
В этом случае будет остановлен. Другое дело, насколько убедительно наше руководство сформулирует вот этот, так сказать, посыл и вызов. Потому что
это обозначает, что необходимо будет произвести взрыв где-нибудь.
It will be necessary to make an explosion somewhere in neutral territory.
нейтральной территории на подлете.
Вполне возможно,
On
что это
approaching, it
может
is
быть
quite
даже
possible that it can be a demonstration of nuclear power
демонстрационный ядерный взрыв, скажем так,
or
в
nuclear
пустынях Мирового
explosion.
океана. Но не настолько пустынных, чтобы его
He's
не
talking
было
about in the
видно.
deserted
Вот
waters of
таким
what?
образом.
Может, с этого прямо сейчас и начать?
Ну, пока,
Ну, потому что
опять-таки,
когда рассчитывают все эти заявления Пентагона и прочее, что Россия, ты себе смотри, не смей дергаться, мы будем делать все, что хотим. Это такое просчитывание политической воли России.
такое
Потому что они понимают, что Америке же ничего не угрожает, если войска НАТО воюют с Россией на территории Украины.
Not fighting for
А
Russia,
если
fighting
вдруг
against
соответственно
Russia.
еще как угрожает.
Тогда вот только вот этот вариант единственно возможный для нас. Но по возможности. по
This
возможности.
option is the only
Я-
what did he just say?
По возможности, опять-таки. Этот вариант единственный.
Ясно, что еще как угрожает.
Тогда вот только
And suddenly the sight is clear. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Тогда
What else is threatening then that's just the Western one? What other besides the Western one that's threatening?
вот только вот этот вариант
This option
единственный.
is the only one option for us. Tactical nukes. Those of you who understand Russian could understand what he's saying. They're trying to, closed captioning is trying to translate the best way it can. Okay? But according to what closed caption is saying is that tactical nukes is the only option possible for them?
Возможный для нас, но по возможности,
But if possible, can I'm demonstrative, whatever that means.
Опять-таки,
Простите, пожалуйста, демонстрационный
Demonstration of a nuclear strike somewhere in the oceans is possible, but
ядерный
to
удар где-нибудь в Мировом океане. Это вероятно.
what he's saying? What are they saying? A nuclear strike on what? Diego Garcia? Guam? Is this what they're talking about? They're talking about this openly on Russian TV, folks. Now we'll continue and listen to this, and they're going to give an explanation why they think this is going to work.
Вероятно.
Но, к сожалению, все вероятно. То есть,
ну не то, что вероятно, а очень даже вероятно.
не, ну, потому что
И такой прием в сфере применения.
Victory is what the reception in the sphere of the use of armed forces for the Russian Federation.
Вооруженные силы Российской Федерации в возможном конфликте.
Possible conflict of grievances. He had a lot of strength decided to strike a blow at the country. They proved it in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You see the conclusions that they're drawing. So when they're saying striking somewhere in the ocean, they're not saying just dropping an atomic bomb or a nuclear bomb in the ocean to show a proof of force. It's not what they're saying. You know, Japan tried something like that too, except they didn't use nukes. It looks like they're talking about Pearl Harboring an island where the United States has some of their resources. You can listen to the video just as well as I can and draw your own conclusions. So what he's saying is,
Ведь понимаете, в чем тут еще в возможном конфликте?
to strike a blow
решимость нанести удар по стране. Они доказали это в Хиросиме и Нагасаки.
a country. They proved it in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They proved it
Во-первых, они доказали это тогда, вот как раз на
then by just striking a scion strike to show the presence of political will. What they are saying is that the United States did the same thing. They did not intend to inflict massive damage on Japan, just a scion strike to show the presence of political will. So when they're talking about dropping a nuclear bomb or launching a nuclear bomb somewhere in the ocean, they're talking about to get America's attention the way the United States got Japan's attention in World War II. This is what is being discussed openly today in Russia on TV.
нанесение демонстрационного удара показывает.
Now, you go and look at any U.S. news channel and ask, and take a look around. Is anyone speaking like this? Is anyone talking like this? No. The American news channels are fast asleep. And yet in Russia, they're talking about this openly.
Наличие политической воли и решимости.
You see, folks? Now, I'll get rid of that. You heard it. So, maybe, maybe the folks at Deagle.com are not as crazy as... I'm not saying they aren't crazy. I'm not saying that they are. But you heard the crazy talk. You heard it. In Russia. Now there's something else I need to show you. Now, as you may know, that Russia has had hypersonic missiles successfully tested, a couple of months ago. Well, looks like the United States tried to test some hypersonic missiles and they failed. It was a failed test. Right here. They tried to launch them from B-52. It didn't launch. It was conducted yesterday. Russia, on the other hand, 2 down, more to go. With hypersonic weapons already in field, Russia looks to improve features. Okay, that's the same thing. Was not able to complete the launch sequence. All right, and I'll get rid of that. Now this brings us to the Gog Magog War. All right? Verse 1, chapter 38. The word of Jehovah, not the Lord, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. This says Rosh, or the head prince of Meshech and Tubal. Well, today Tubal is in Georgia, the Republic of Georgia. It's Tbilisi. And prophesy against him, saying, Thus saith Jehovah Elohim, I will Gog, Rosh, prince of Meshech, and some say that Meshech would be Moscow today. Do I know that for sure? I do not. Anyway, I will cause you to return and put hooks in your jaws and bring you forth. All your army, your Sus, that would be in the old days, your birds, probably war birds, and horsemen, and all clothed in all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler, shield, and all of them handling swords. But the word swords also means a tool like a sword, and today just as a weapon of war. So anything that you can draw on your side as a weapon of war is a sword. All right. Persia, that would be Iran. Kush, that could either mean parts of Africa, parts of Hindu Kush, or both. And Put, which today would be Libya, all of them with shields and helmets. Now Gomer and his army, and the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with you. Now, I want to show you maps here, all right? So this is probably not a real map. This is what people think might be Gog Magog, whatever. Here's how they have it. They have it as, and Togarmah in Turkey, that would be correct. About a year ago, I think I did a video about the house of Togarmah, which is definitely in Turkey. But there are other things that are in Turkey as well. Now they got Meshech and Tubal here, and they have accurately Tubal as Tbilisi. That would be correct. Meshech, I don't know. Magog, well, the Russians used to be in Turkey until the Turks, the Ottomans, drove them out. Okay, so that's all iffy. Now they have Gomer here as well. Now, Gomer indeed used to be here. It indeed used to be in Turkey. However, the sons of Gomer are Rifith, Togarmah, and Ashkenaz. Now, both Rifith and Ashkenaz take up much of Western Europe today. The Rifith, they are the Gauls and the Celts. The Gauls and the Celts are essentially the same people. Let's look at this for a second here. So what you have here, if you can see this map, you can see the Gauls, or the Celts, I mean. You can see them in Great Britain, especially in Wales and in Ireland and in Scotland. In Brittany, France, and deeper inside of France, but not all, and takes most of France. Down in southern France, not so much. In southern Spain, not so much. But definitely in Spain. And at one time, before the Roman Empire, this area right here was actually a colony of what is now Spain and Portugal. It was a colony of Tarshish. All right? Let's get a little bit closer to see if... and we're only talking about Gauls here, or Celts, right? Celtbury, Gauli, Galershi, etc. So we'll pull this back. And as I understand correctly, the Gauls were servants of Tarshish, and Tarshish is the son of Yavan, Yavan being Greece, and they all came from Japheth. All right. So I don't think I need this map anymore. And I might hold on to this. Now let's look at Tarshish. So Tarshish, the actual city of Tarshish, was on the Atlantic side of the Mediterranean Sea. It was not even in the Mediterranean Sea, it was in the Atlantic, as you can see right here. Now we have a little context here. Now it says, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, of the north extremes. That's interesting. We'll continue. And all his bands and many people. Be you prepared and prepare yourself, and all your company that are assembled. Watch, guard, jail, prison, etc. Many days ye shall be visited. In the last days you shall come into the land which is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people. You will be gathered against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but now it is brought forth out of the Gentiles. So this is going to happen after Jehovah brings all Israel back home. Probably right after. Probably as a result of him gathering all Israel out of that land, out of all the lands of the Gentiles. And they're going to dwell safely, all of them, and you shall ascend and come like a storm. You shall be a cloud to cover the land, and all your bands and many people with you. And it shall come to pass that at that same time things will come into your mind, and you shall think an evil thought, and you shall say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Well, that's not what it says. It says an open region, hamlets. And if you read carefully, you'll notice this is in the hamlets of northern Israel. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely. So this is after the Messiah has come. After the gathering of all Israel, they have celebrated victory. Or maybe they didn't celebrate victory yet. Maybe they're about to go to war, but they're safe now because they have the Messiah. All of them dwelling without walls, having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil, to take a prey, to turn your hand upon those desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the Gentiles, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Now Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, the young lions thereof, will say, are you come to take a spoil? Have you gathered your company to take a prey? Now, I don't know. I don't completely know the sequence of events. Okay? But either Tarshish, the young lions of Tarshish, are unwilling or are unable to do anything about what is happening. Just like Sheba and Dedan, a.k.a. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia wouldn't be able to do anything about it, obviously. Now, would the young lions of Tarshish, a.k.a. the British and United States of America and South America, be unable to do anything about it because Russia has hypersonic nukes and S-35s to stop non-hypersonic nukes? Very possible. It's very possible in this whole conflict that's coming up that the United States is going to have to be forced to stand down. We all know that Russia has many more nukes than anybody else in the world. And now we know they have hypersonic nukes and the United States does not. And all they'd have to do is launch one on an island, like what they're talking about right now. You see, the United States, with Joe Biden as president, is literally groveling at the feet of Iran, trying to get them to go back to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. If the United States of America is groveling in front of Iran, what kind of position of power will they be able to take against a far greater power, Russia? Now, it doesn't have to be that scenario either. What if there was a nuclear war between Russia before the gathering of all Israel? I don't know that there will be or that there won't be. But it looks like Russia would win because the United States does not have bunkers, and Russia does. Russia has enough bunkers to house 75% of their people. They're more prepared than the United States is. You see? But anyway, are you come to take a spoil? Have you gathered your company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, and to take away cattle and goods, and to take a great spoil. Now, in that context, we have to go to Isaiah 60. We have to. And I'll tell you why. I'll show you why. Isaiah 60, the smoke hasn't even cleared yet in the aftermath of what Jehovah does to Gog Magog and the coastlands of the Mediterranean Sea. Smoke hasn't even cleared yet. We can see it right here. Arise and shine, for the light has come, the glory of Jehovah is risen upon you. That would be Zion. Behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Jehovah shall arise upon Zion, and it will be glorious to be seen. The Gentiles, the Goy, will be forced to come to your light. Why? Because there's nothing but darkness where they live. Desolation in the aftermath. And the kings, to the brightness of your rising, lift up your eyes round about and see all they gather themselves together. They come to you, your sons come from afar, your daughters shall be nursed at your side. Well, it sounds like a gathering in the midst of a great, monstrous upheaval. Hey, I'm just reading it as it says. You will see and flow together, and shall fear, and you will be enlarged. Zion will grow large, huge. Land expansion. Why? Because the murmuring of the sea peoples will be overthrown. Hafak means overthrown. overthrown. Now we go back to, I wanted to get right down here. Verse 8, who are these that fly as a cloud, as doves to the windows? They wait for me in the coastlands. They wait for him in the coastlands of the Mediterranean. Who's waiting for him? The people of Israel that are going to be gathered back, as we just got finished reading in the same chapter. Who is going to bring them on these flying ships? The ships of Tarshish first. The ships of Tarshish first, that means the ships of the Atlantic. I showed you where Tarshish was, the Atlantic. To bring your sons from far, their silver and their gold with them. The name of Jehovah Elohim, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he is glorified, or to be glorified. They're going to bring all Israel there to be glorified. Verse 12 says, for any nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Yes, those nations shall be utterly decay, be dried up. To be dried up. What nations are going to be dried up? All you have to do is go look at Revelation 11. You see the two witnesses. Their first order of business is to bring 3.5 years of no rain upon the earth. All right? So now we go back to Ezekiel 38. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all their young lions shall say unto you, are you come to take a spoil? Have you gathered your company to take a prey? This whole series of events happens at around the same time. What comes first, we really don't know. But we know that this happens. And we know that as a result, there is going to be a great, humongous earthquake. There's going to be fire. There's going to be pestilence. There's going to be blood, plague of blood. And then it says, overflowing rain, great hailstones, fire, and brimstone. Now we go to the next chapter. Oops, what's going on here? Oh, I need to go right here. Go to the next chapter, it says right here. Gog Magog, you will fall upon the mountains of Israel, you and all your bands and the people that are with you. I will give to the birds, ravenous birds of every kind, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. You shall fall upon the open field, for I have spoken, it says Jehovah Elohim. I will send a fire. I believe this is the fire of Zechariah 14. I believe this is the fire of the sixth trumpet sound. The fire, the smoke, and the brimstone, which is going to kill 1/3 of the earth. On Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the coastlands. We know that the coastal regions are the coastal regions of the Mediterranean Sea. And in that manner, they're going to know Jehovah. This is how he's going to make his name holy in the midst of the people of Israel. This is how he's not going to let Israel pollute his name anymore. And the heathen, the Gentiles, will know Jehovah, the Kodesh of Israel. It's coming. It's as good as done, he says. There is no way. There is no way it's going to stop. It's going to happen. It's as good as done, says Jehovah. Because this is the day whereof I have spoken. That is the day of Jehovah's wrath. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. If the United States, I'll give you one scenario maybe two. If the United States figures out that it cannot get its nukes past the S-500s, if they figure out that they do not have the ability to launch hypersonic missiles, and Russia does, if the United States of America is groveling at the feet of Iran, the United States will probably just sit there and not do anything about Ukraine. Not allow, and the NATO members not allow Ukraine to be a member of NATO. You see, if Ukraine became a member of NATO tomorrow, then the United States and all the NATO members would be forced to protect Ukraine by any means necessary against Russia. So what I'm saying is, watch what happens with NATO. Will they bring Ukraine into NATO? Well, the answer, or the possibility, is probably 50-50. I'm kind of leaning that they won't. Because if they would have, if they were willing to, they already would have. Russia thinks they need to strike in Ukraine while the iron is hot. They're talking about going all the way to the Dnieper River. That's what they're talking about. Alright, I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is the Dnieper River. They're talking about going all the way to the Dnieper River. Why? Because then they would have control of the river so that Crimea would have water. What has happened is Ukraine has denied water from the Dnieper River into Crimea. They're out of water. Crimea is a strategic location for the Black Sea Fleet. You see what's going on here. This is really not hard to understand. But what I'm saying is, the most likely outcome is the United States and NATO will initially back down. And once Russia takes the Donbass region all the way to the Dnieper River, and they might even blow up an island to make their point. What do you think China's going to do about Taiwan? What do you think North Korea is going to do about South Korea? Do the people of the United States, as divided against each other as they are going to be ready for a war? And then Turkey and Iran both hate Israel. Might even decide, with Russia's blessing, to move in against the Holy Land through Syria starting the Gog Magog War. There's a couple of scenarios there for you. This is a dangerous, dangerous situation that is happening, folks. This thing has been coming to a head for a while now. I'm going to check, make sure that I've covered everything. I think I have. I saw this, but yeah, I'm not. All right. I think I've covered everything. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and prepare yourselves because we could be in for a long, hot summer this summer.